Hello everyone. We are live, and those of us who've been traveling are back in our respective hometowns, I would suspect. So it's good to be back home, but it was great to spend the time that we did in Oklahoma. Um, it was amazing to be able to meet Susan. I just There's just not enough about her that I just can't love any more about her than I do. She's an uh, amazing friend and an amazing woman. Um, and Kay, of course, I had never met Kay either, and so that was also a lot of fun. Cherie and I are becoming old friends, so we are soul sisters after all, soul twins. And so it was really great to be able to meet new friends that we've known through the internet for years. But I don't want to say too much about the trip because we are planning a special um, trip for that to share that trip experience.
Maybe next week or not sure yet.
Possibly next week. I'm having a hard time for whatever reason. I've moved all the videos into a secured folder. I'm not sure how to move stuff from my phone to my computer. I don't do stuff on my phone like the rest of because I'm not very techno, so I don't know how to use my phone to do that kind of stuff. So I'm just working on trying to get all the videos over to my drive so that I can kind of have the video and then the pictures and all that stuff to kind of show a journey. And Kay has let me know that I need to do almost complete voiceovers through through the videos because we were having a lot of fun, but not all of it was necessarily related to the what we try to do here. So I do have to go through that and maybe do some voiceovers or maybe just talk over it as we're presenting it. I don't know yet. We'll see. But anyway, so I don't want to share too much about the trip other than it was great meeting Susan and Kay. I gained 4 pounds because Kay fed us 3 meals a day regularly, and it was amazing. She's a great cook,
I
so
agree.
yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, so anyway, we're gonna just go over today. We're gonna get back in bleeps not needed. Thanks, Liam. Yeah, really quick, let me just say hi to everybody in the chat from here and from Foul Play. So we have Liam. I believe Liam's in my chat. Rhonda SD is in my chat. Welcome, Rhonda, and thank you for being here. Under Your Scars is in Foul Play's chat, which is just fine. Thank you for being here. I Don't Recall is in Foul Play. And um, let's see. And JJax61 is in Foul Play, and he's showing this live stream on Foul Play. So that's always appreciated, and I think it's helping a lot to get Daniel's case out a lot further than what my channel alone was doing. I can't remember exactly, but I have gotten quite a few subscribers to Daniel's case, to my channel, presenting Daniel's case from Jack streaming it to Foul Play. So that's been really helpful, and I always appreciate it. And Stefan or Steven Cyber, welcome. And I think I met. Oh, Under Your Scars is back over in our chat now, in my chat. So that's great. And you can operate from both chats if you like. I do that. I try to do that sometimes. And I know Jack and Cherie, if I drop links or links get dropped in my chat, they'll drop them also in the Foul Play chat in case you're just watching from there. So yes, welcome to everybody. Steven Cyber, I feel like I recognize your name from somebody else's video comment section. I can't remember which one. So But thank you anyway for being here. And Case 10, it's great to see you. I'm so glad you were able to come in tonight, Case. Let's appreciate it. So, just quick, I want to say hi to Cherie. I don't recall, and see how you've been doing this week.
I've been doing well, busy trying to catch up at work from
Yeah.
things that didn't get done, but overall doing well and glad to be here. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. And my brother Jack, how are you doing?
Done pretty good. And Sheree, are you mean to tell me that while you were gone, there was stuff that stuff wasn't just automatically done? Oh wait, it never is.
No, one friend or one other attorney went to court for me at one place, but all the others got postponed, waiting for me. So
Woohoo!
yeah,
I completely understand. Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm doing pretty good. Just busy with one thing and another, and it just never ends.
Yeah, I know you're always busy, Jack. I don't know how you do it. I do one show a week, and that sometimes, not that it wears me out, but it's a lot of work just doing one show a week, and you're producing several shows a week. So, um, you know, it's amazing how you can do that. So we
Well,
appreciate everything that you do for us as well.
well, thank
Um,
you. I just try to stay, do what I can, and I mean, there's days that I literally have to almost unplug everything and just kind of push the computer to the side and just do something else. But
yeah,
you know,
yep, I get it. I
it's like
absolutely get it.
it's like Clint Eastwood said, "Man's got to know his limitations," and I try to.
Yeah, yeah, you got to do that. You got to pick the, got to choose a time when you can just try to relax a little bit and not worry
That's right.
about things that you're not having to clock in for.
That's right. It's
So,
not a job.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so as I was preparing what little bit I have for you guys tonight, I realized that I covered Carla Raines about a year ago, and so it's kind of cheap or unfair or something. I don't know how to explain it, but we're just going to kind of recycle a portion of that. And let you just listen to, because Carla Raines' case wasn't a big, like, bunch of horrible accusations or anything, but it was a very pinnacle case because she told Rocky Gregory during her interview that she hadn't been she told him 7 different times that she had never been assaulted by a Oklahoma City police officer. And but he managed, regardless, he managed to, he sure did manage to pull out a good case for her, and fabricated, I guess is the right word, fabricated a great case for her. And I think that it was a I don't know exactly what the charge was called, but it was one charge of him touching her inappropriately over her clothes, I believe. So, and honestly, I can't even remember. This is really bad. Cherie's going to have to help me, but I can't even remember if he got a guilty charge for hers or not. I don't remember.
I don't believe he did. I'll check on that to make sure. But I think she was
Okay.
a acquittal.
She was, yeah, he got an acquittal on hers, and Cherie will figure that out for us, and we'll be able to let you know. But what I'll do is I'll share this. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. What I'm going to do is run through the police report with you really quickly, and It's not very long. We're not even going to go through the whole thing because it just isn't really that informational. But um, he this police report's only 20 or 21 pages long, so I'm going to kind of go through it a little bit, and then I'll play Brian Bates' podcast section for you, uh, so that you can hear the contrast in the recording that was done and the and what he wrote in the police report, because it's very starkly different, at least to my recollection. Carla was, I don't believe she joined the civil suit. Oh, yes, she did. She did. Oh, wait, I get her mixed up. I'm so sorry. I get her mixed up with Carla Johnson.
I think she did, but I don't think we got her deposition.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do is we'll go over the, thanks, Susan. Susan, I guess I'll quickly mention, we are short 2 panel members tonight. Susan is a little under the weather, and she's going to try to listen, and she'll make comments in the chat when she's able to. And Kay is on a vacation somewhere in the Southwest, and that's all I'll say, because I'm not trying to give her business.
I told you they have internet there.
I know. That's creepy. I've got my headphones on. So it's really creepy.
Don't tell Kay I said that.
Okay, I won't tell her. Okay. That's really creepy when it's literally right in your ears, hearing that whisper.
Isn't it? Isn't that strange?
It is. Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, under your scar says, shh, don't tell. I know that she has some big plans that her and her husband have for tonight where they're vacationing. And so I don't think she's going to even be able to listen in or comment in the chat or anything, but doesn't matter. I want her to have fun. She entertained us and cooked for us for an entire week, drove us all around Oklahoma City in the sweltering heat and humidity. And she deserves a vacation from us for herself now. So I hope that she's enjoying herself. So with that being said, what I will do is I'm going to share the screen for the, that's okay. We can handle tease. Listen, the teasing was merciless in Oklahoma City between Susan and Kay.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I mean, I wasn't offended. I laughed at myself. I have no problem laughing at myself. But
we're gonna need video.
Well, yeah,
okay.
I don't think there's.
Remember what our teacher Ripper said: video or it didn't happen. That's all I'm saying.
Video or it didn't happen. I know. Exactly, Liam. That isn't ASMR. It's a horror movie overdub. That's right. No ASMR for that, for sure. That was odd feeling, but it's okay. I can handle it. But yeah, so yeah, there was a lot of we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. So that's all that matters. And you know what? If my silliness or mistakes or whatever can be laughed at by other people, I'm all about it. Let's do it. I'm happy to share. So, okay, so I'm going to show the police report to you guys. Like I said, it's really relatively short, but I want to go over it. Oops, let me close that. I want to go over it so that you can just get an idea of the difference between what he wrote and what she actually said in the recording. So I some of you who've been following along closely and regularly every week might recognize August 15th, 2014. Lots of stuff went on August 15th, 14th, and 15th, that last few days before, that last week or so before they arrested Daniel. This is August 15th, 2014, and Daniel was arrested on August 21st. And so they were doing lots of interviews and lots of storytelling and everything else. So they were very, very busy at this point. And we'll, not next week, but the week after, we're going to get back to the PowerPoint timeline that Kay is working on and show you exactly via the emails that we received what was also going on and different things that were going on in the area and the community. So this is the interview with Carla Raines that Detective Gregory reported. On 8/15/14, I met Carla at her residence. I had been trying to contact Carla through phone calls and by going to her residence, leaving my card. Carla contacted me on this date and advised she would speak with me. I advised Carla I had a possible tip. How many times have you guys all heard that? I know you've all heard it. Every time we talk about an accuser, we hear about a possible tip or a tip. That maybe she was the victim of a sexual assault. And then he says, like they say in every report, I was given her name through Lieutenant Musney on a list of possible victims. She advised she would speak with me in person. So Carla advised that she was stopped by an officer who made her expose her breasts. At no time did Carla Raines say that, to my recollection, and we'll hear it in the podcast recording, but I don't believe she ever said that she was stopped by an officer who made her expose her breasts. He did not touch her inappropriately, but made her expose herself to him. Okay, so he didn't touch her, he made her expose herself to him. I asked Carla to explain. Carla advised that sometime in the last year, she was walking alone in Northeast 16th near Fonchell Avenue. It was about 10 p.m. The officer stopped her and asked her various questions. He wanted to know where she was going and where she had been. To my recollection, we don't hear that in the recording in the podcast. Excuse me. He then asked her if she had anything on her. She stated no. Carla said she had tight pants on, and it was obvious she had nothing in her pants. Then the officer pat searched her, but nothing inappropriate, just a quick pat. He then stated, quote, I have to check you, unquote. The officer made the motion as to pull her shirt up. Carla advised it was obvious by his statement and actions of what he meant. Carla stated she felt like she had to lift her shirt and bra to expose her breasts. The officer said he needed to make sure. Carla advised he motioned for her to pull her bra up. He told her twice he needed to make sure nothing is on you. Carla said she did as was wanted by the officer and lifted her shirt. She raised her bra as well to expose her breast. Carla flicked her bra out and told him, see, I don't have anything. Carla then put her bra and shirt back on to cover her breasts. The officer then ran her name. He said something strange. He advised, quote, I go around and stop girls and people to make sure they are okay, end quote. She's the first accuser that said anything like that, or that is quoted as having said something like that. He let her go after running her name for warrants, did not touch her in an inappropriate manner, did not stop her or make a comment as to her raising her shirt and bra upon his request. Carla said she had on tight shorts, jean shorts. Oh, now it's jean shorts, not pants. She had a jacket. It was colder out. It was a normal shirt and bra. Oh, I don't really know what that means. If anybody has an idea what a normal shirt and bra is, I'd like to know. I don't know what that means. Carla was not sure on the date or time period, just like all of the other accusers. None of them know, well, with the exception of Shardarian Hill, Adara Gardner. Well, not even Adara, not even Kayla. None of them, except for Shardarian Hill, none of them knew the date or time frame of where it happened. So that information was given to them by the detectives. She couldn't give me exact time. It was colder out. I asked Carla to describe the officer. She described him in the following manner: 6 foot tall, white male with a brown tan, 210 pounds, worked out, built, took care of himself, late 30s, maybe in age. No scars, marks, or tattoos, unknown name. The officer drove an all black police car. The officer was an OCPD officer. Advised she had not been stopped by him before or since that she recalled. Carla advised that she had been stopped by police officers several times before by both male and female officers. Carla stated this was the only time she was made to expose herself or was treated inappropriately in this manner. Carla advised she raised her shirt because that was what he wanted. She felt like she had to expose her breast to him. Carla advised she did it to make the stop go quicker, to not be seen talking to a cop and labeled a snitch. We've heard that before. Carla, and you know what? I believe there's truth to that in real life, because in that area of Oklahoma City, and we've now seen it, we know what it looks like exactly. I believe in those areas that they didn't want to be seen talking to cops if they could help it, because they didn't want to be labeled snitches. Carla advised if there are other victims, they wouldn't come forward on a cop because they can make it harder on them, like telling a drug house that they are a snitch, and the neighborhood takes a sort of measure of discomfort on them. Carla was not aware of any other victims. That's just strange. Just really weird. So this is the details. Let's see. I wanted to show you. So she says this is a picture of a mugshot. Carla has an extensive criminal record, but this is what I wanted to show you. So they ran the Varuna record, and Daniel had ran her and stopped her on March 14th of 2014. She said that she had never been stopped before, or according to Gregory, she had never been stopped before or since the date of whenever they decided to make the claim, which ended up being 3/14. But she had been stopped the prior year on July 10th of 2013. So I don't know whose lie is whose, but that wasn't an accurate statement. Okay, let me get back over here. Oops, that didn't show very well. Sorry about that, guys. So there we go. Okay. So anyway, that's the basics of the police report. It really, other than the standard, got the information from Joe Hill and the AVL and the this and the that and the whatever. They didn't really. There really wasn't a lot of information in her report. Now, oh, and Kay is in the chat. I thought she might be able to, but not sure. So he was found, procuring loot exhibition, and he was found not guilty on hers. So thank you, Kay. And she's here for about 30 minutes. That's good. We'll take whatever time we can get. Yes, and yes, Liam, they were the same bad interview techniques all the way around. So let's see. You need to check me. What did I say? I'm not sure what I said. I need to check you. Who else said that? Tabitha Barnes. Oh,
I think she's saying that Carla Raines said that, and then who else said it? Tabitha.
Tabitha. Oh, okay. Tabitha Barnes. Okay. Okay. So yes, I am going to play that right now. I'm going to play it through Brian Bates' podcast. Like I said, I'm cheating and I'm using an old video to share with you guys. So I think I've got it right about the right spot. Oh, told you I'm just like scrambling all over the place. I'm not. There we go. I have to share the screen.
In the last episode, I covered the allegations of 51-year-old Northeast Oklahoma City resident Carla Johnson, who was interviewed by Oklahoma City Police sex crimes detective Kim Davis on August 14, 2014. That interview was allegedly not recorded. However, records show that on that same day, Detective Davis also met with 53-year-old accuser Florine Mathis a second time. While her first interview was video and audio recorded, the second meeting was allegedly not. Also on this date, Detective Gregory met with and interviewed 41-year-old Northeast Oklahoma City resident Tabitha Barnes. You'll recall that interview, which was allegedly also not recorded, was cut short when Barnes became incoherent and was unable to stay awake. Detective Gregory made plans with her to return the next morning. On that next day, August 15, 2014, Detective Gregory went to try to interview accuser Barnes for a second time, but she wasn't home. Detective Davis visits with accusers Mathis and Johnson, yet again, at separate locations to get DNA samples from both of them. Those encounters were not recorded. Detective Gregory, unable to locate accuser Barnes, drives over and interviews 41-year-old Northeast Oklahoma City resident Carla Raines. According to Detective Gregory's official investigative report, quote, on 8/15/14, I met with Carla at her residence in the 1300 block of Northeast 18th. I had been trying to contact Carla through phone calls and by going by her residence leaving my card. Carla contacted me on this date and advised she would speak with me. I advised Carla I had a possible tip that maybe she was the victim of a sexual assault. I was given her name through Lieutenant Musney on a list of possible victims. See supplemental. She advised she would speak with me in person. End quote. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to this next quote. It's literally the second paragraph of Detective Gregory's report. Quote, Carla advised that she was stopped by an officer who made her expose her breasts. He did not touch her inappropriately, but made her expose herself to him. I asked Carla to explain. End quote. Seems simple enough, doesn't it? Detective Gregory makes contact with someone whose name appears on this mysterious list, and what do you know? They're a victim. But it's actually not that simple. To hear or read Detective Gregory's report, it definitely sounds like he simply knocked on the door and the interviewee just came right out and shared how she had been victimized. I'm going to play for you now the actual recording of that interview. Before today, this interview has never been played in its entirety for the public other than at the jury trial. I want you to decide for yourself if Detective Gregory's report is a fair or biased portrayal of his interview with Carla Raines. In particular, when does she get around to claiming she's a victim? How many times does she deny being a victim of any officer? And does it seem like Detective Gregory is leading or coaxing her to say exactly what he wants? Have a listen for yourself.
Knock, knock. Hello?
Just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, put my bill on and get my ID and stuff out.
Oh, you're fine. How you doing, Carl?
I'm doing fine.
I'm Detective Gregory.
You have a seat.
All right. Well, I didn't think I was kind of being clear about what I was asking. That's the reason I wanted to meet you face to face.
Yeah, because I ain't, like I said, I cleaned my life up, so I haven't been out on those streets. I haven't had this.
Sorry, I was muted. I just wanted to say that's a little catch right there when he says, I didn't think I was being clear. So that's why I wanted to meet
about
face to face.
what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, pretty
Basically.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, I'm just going to take it back just a little titch so you can, now that you have that context, you can catch it.
I was asking. That's the reason I wanted to meet you face to face.
Yeah, because I ain't, like I said, I cleaned my life up, so I haven't been out on those streets. I haven't had this is my ID and everything. But I was telling you that I had lost my ID, but this is my current address, this address. But my last ID, see, I was supposed to call and report it. I forgot it because that's what happened to me before. Because I ain't had no warrants or nothing. I didn't want nobody to try to use my name and end up, and we done got stopped and they taken me to jail for robbing a bank or something.
So you're wanting your ID back? Is that...
No. I lost my ID. I was just.
Oh, you lost it?
Yeah, this is a new one, and I lost my old one.
It's okay. Okay.
So Rocky his mind can't focus on anything except how he's going to twist somebody's story. And so when he thinks that all she's wanting to talk to him about is getting her ID back, he's like, well, wait a minute. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about your accuser and tell you what you need to say. Because he cannot, his mind doesn't, he does that with Terry Morris on July 10th when he takes her from the jail to supposedly go show him the route that Daniel took her on. And he's just like, yeah, I know. But this thing that I want to tell you about, this is what we're here to talk about. There's not much any other room for conversation in general with him.
He could care less. Everything she just said.
Yep. He's just like, I could just see him like with his, his hands motioning, blah, 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 blah. Oh, all you want is your ID back?
Yeah.
Because that's just how he thinks.
Just in the past year, or we could say 2, but I'm going to
back that up because I want to make sure that you hear how this literally starts out. This recording literally starts out, and I'll shut up.
No, I lost my ID. I was just.
Oh, you lost it?
Yeah, this is a new one, and I lost my old one.
It's okay. Okay. Just in the past year, or we could say 2, but I'm going to focus in on mainly like this year, 2014, but let's go back just a year. Okay. Have you ever come to any contact where an officer has been inappropriate?
No.
You ever had to expose yourself to them?
No.
Okay.
I haven't really had no. I had, I think, like one contact since this year, and it was just 2. Well, actually, I wasn't driving, and I was in the passenger seat, but I carry my ID and everything.
Okay.
But 'Cause I don't be on the streets no more. I don't do drugs and all that kind of stuff. See, I don't.
But you wasn't asked to, if you had any drugs on you, anything like that, and you had to
expose myself. I made an officer this year.
Hi.
Oh, that's my mother.
How you doing? Yes, ma'am. I think I am. Sometimes I pretend to be.
No. How did you get my name anyway on something like this?
Well, this is the deal. We got several victims.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we're trying to go back on this guy. And he's a pretty bad guy.
Was he addressing himself as an officer or you got Wisconsin, Oklahoma?
Do what?
Oklahoma. All these white folks is crazy. Good. As far as, because I haven't really been on the streets and stuff that much. So, but I mean, I know what you're talking about. I just can't really talk in front of her, but I know what you're talking about as far as, but I haven't, what was he, what you mean, expose himself as far as like ask for prostitution or,
Not even necessarily for prostitutes, but he tries to, he's having women do different things.
oh, thinking they gonna go to jail if they do a fake.
Why don't you just tell her what to say, Rocky?
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Within the past year, I really can't really recall.
And how I come across your name is that anybody with like anybody who's been running, okay. Now we kind of came up with a list.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's been in the only area.
The problem is
I've been in this area. See, this is the only one I got to prosecute. This is the only area that I was in, and I guess like about 3 or 4 months because I had went to detox when they first started open because I used to be right down the street. But then from 19th, the 20th, I was down to maybe 17th within this area. That was the area that I was. That's the area, the main area that I was in prostitution. And I mean, you have some men stop with themselves already exposed, and they'll have you play with them. By they standing over, they play with themselves. It's a couple men that does that.
Mm-hmm.
They play with themselves. They already have themselves exposed when they stop you, and then they hand you like $20 through the window, and it's been a couple of the violence. Yeah.
Now, are you talking about cops? Or are you talking?
I don't know if they'll be cops or not. Sometimes, I've never had a uniform officer. Okay. There's only one officer that I know a few years back. He's this was before OU was only going to 16th Street and that. He was a black cop. They used to come around here, but like I say, he got stopped by him, but he didn't question me. But he's just like, I've seen a girl that exposed her breast to him before, but as far as him threatening to arrest somebody or they, I've never seen that before, but.
Well, and the short list that we've had, a lot of them, something's happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And no one came forward or anything. We had to go to the den.
I'm yakking away. StreamYard's telling me your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, so this is that's the basic story of Carla Raines and or what the story that she told. Now there's more to it, to her I'm not going to call it an accusation because at this point it's not an accusation against Daniel at all. But when he writes his report, he makes it sound very much like she came right out and accused somebody of touching her breast. At no time during the interview does she ever say that she was made to pull up her shirt, all that stuff I read to you from the police report. At no time in that recorded interview does she say any of that. None of that gets said. And Kay made a comment a little while ago about, see if I can see this up here. She said, when was he asking anything? What that was referring to, if I'm not mistaken, what Kay was referring to is he had apparently, Rocky Gregory had evidently had a phone conversation with, hi, Alice. It is so great to see you. I'm so glad to see you here. Thanks for being in the chat over in Foul Play. We appreciate you. He indicates during that recording that I don't think you kind of got what I was saying to you when I talked to you the other day. That is nowhere. So something to that effect. That indicates that there was a phone conversation with Carla Raines prior to the recorded interview that we just listened to the partial part of it of. And there was just no mention of that phone call anywhere, but he slipped when he said she got the little baby civil settlement, even though oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Kay. Even though he was acquitted. All right. Thank you. Anyway, he slipped when he said, I don't think you quite understood what I was getting at when I talked to you the other day. So there was a prior phone conversation with Carla Raines before he went to see her on that day, on the 15th of August. And it's, whether he just, that's okay. It's kind of confusing, Alice. Foul Play is streaming it, and I'm showing it live, and so it is. It can be confusing if you don't know that I'm doing that. But he just he doesn't report that anywhere, and he didn't get whatever they talked about on the phone prior to August 15th. He didn't get from her what he wanted. And so it's really infuriating that he has to further it even more by going to her physically and saying, I don't think you were quite understanding what I was trying to ask you the other day. So I'm here now to kind of help lead you in the direction where I need you to go, which is exactly what he did. So it's just a frustration, and it's disgusting to me. All of these women lied, and we know that. I know that. And but to initially say no, nothing happened. I mean, she sounded really convincing to me in that recording when she says that, no. What do you mean? How many times I numbered it in that video? I think it was 7 times. And then she just straight up says, where did you get my name on something like this? Why is my name coming up? And he just, he proceeds to take the story that she told about the black cop the year before, who was known to be exposing himself to women that he was stopping. And that wasn't Daniel. I mean, none of these were Daniel, but that's the only thing she said Oh, I know what you're talking about. These cops were out on stings or whatever they were doing, trying to catch prostitutes and Johns, whatever they were doing. Um, and she, he turned that little segment into her having to lift her shirt and expose her breasts. I don't know how he did that, but what's sick about it and what pisses me off about it is that he managed to get her to go along with him, even though in the recording she basically said she'd had no contact with him. Nothing ever happened like that. And she didn't even say that the black cop years earlier, she didn't even say that they exposed himself to her, but that he was exposing himself to women. And she didn't know if these cops who were doing this were actually cops or not. Sometimes they were in uniform or a patrol car. Sometimes they weren't. So she doesn't even know if they're cops. They could be vice. They could have been anything, but she's not even sure that they're cops to begin with. And, it really pisses me off that he managed to get her to, so that just, it makes you stop and think again and more and deeper. How many conversations did they have with these individual women where they told them, where they gave them a narrative, or they gave them I can't think of what it's called in creative writing, but they gave them a baseline. Okay, this is what we need you to, we need to get this guy off the street. And, maybe he didn't, maybe you just don't remember. Who knows what they said to them to give them a baseline of where to start or how to tell a story, but they did. And it's obvious, if no other time, it's very obvious by what he did with Carla Raines. And it's quite sickening that she was willing to jump on that train and hope to get some gravy in the end. And she did. She got a portion of that in the settlement that was given to them last fall when they dropped the civil suit. So it was, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go too much deeper into Carla Raines tonight. I want to. There really is nothing more to her story other than what I've shared with you. If you do want to watch the other video in its entirety, I'll link it for you so you can watch it in its entirety from last year. But it just, what they said in what he said in his report didn't happen, and it makes me very angry that she went ahead and went along with it. So there, I linked it in both Foul Play and Foul Play's chat and my chat as well. So let's see. Kay says if he went by her house several times to leave a card, he likely told her mom or anyone else around what he suspected happened to her. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what Rocky Gregory indicates, is that she didn't tell me the whole story when I was recording her, because her mom was there, and she was worried that her mom would overhear, and she didn't want her mom to know what had happened to her. That's just utter bullshit, complete bullshit. So, I mean,
I think it is in Michelle Malkin's interview.
Oh yeah,
He said it's her grandma.
Oh, grandma. Yeah, that's where it was in Michelle Malkin's interview. Yeah, I couldn't remember where I had heard it, but it was in Michelle Malkin's interview of the detectives. So, just another example of, yeah, she sure did. Her mom or her grandma, whoever it is not a fan of all the white OKC cops. in Oklahoma City. They are crazy, she says. You boys is crazy. So it's just hers is probably the shortest, most clear example, at least to me, of how they crafted their accusations, how they got the accusers to craft their accusations against Daniel. And so I just find it reprehensible and disgusting. And that any of them got any money out of a civil suit is horrible. But those whose cases he was found not guilty on, it's even worse. I don't know. There's nothing that's worse than any other. It was all horrible that they were able to manage to get any money at all, but they did, and there's nothing we can do to change that. But if they can sleep at night. Now, I've been all over Carla Raines' Facebook page, going back to 2000, I think 2016. Is the last year the latest year that I saw something posted. And, she's got all kinds of information on her Facebook page. She's got a picture of her right immediately after being baptized, and that she's found Jesus, and, praise the Lord, and, Jesus is love, all the things, whatever people, want to say, or memes they want to post, or how much they love it. It's blasphemous to me that you can talk about how religious you are and how much you love Jesus and God and all those things, knowing in the back of your mind what you've done to somebody's life and freedom.
She needs to walk back what she said.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
now. Walk it back publicly.
Yep. They all do. It's just, but if, and I'm not trying to judge anybody for religious beliefs or anything like that, but if I am going to claim to be a righteous, God-fearing, God-loving, Jesus-loving person,
Born again Christian.
Born again. There you go. That's the word I was trying to. That's what I was trying to say. Born again. If I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make it public, and I'm going to say all that on Facebook or wherever else she may have posted that kind of stuff, how then you need to say at the same time, and for what I did to this innocent officer, I am publicly apologizing for, because the two things to me can't go together. Maintaining a lie that you told, taking money for that lie that you told, and claiming to be born again. It is judgmental of me to say that, but I think it's wrong. So, but anyway, I would love, Jack and Cherie, if you have anything you want to share. Of course, I'm open to hear it. We want to, let's talk about it. I really don't have much else to share about Carla Raines, at least not yet. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to wait for Kay to get back and work on the timeline.
Do you think that he convinced her that Clasp and Shake was actually, a lewd exhibition or whatever? Or no?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he must have convinced her of that, or told her, even if this is all he did, it's this lewd exhibition thing. Who knows? I mean, who the hell knows what
I'm just thinking it would be more maybe innocent on her part to think, well, unless other officers have done it, had her do it as well. It didn't even happen, we know that, but I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and convinced her that this is, this terrible thing when it was a frequent thing that happened, from my understanding at the time, anyway.
Right. Well, evidently it was it was a regular practice by probably officers all around the country, to be quite honest with you. But they didn't teach it, but they practiced it. It was a well-known practice to do the clasp and shake, in at least in Oklahoma City. So it's
And we all know that some people hide things in their bras, so
yeah.
or
Yeah.
put things, not necessarily hide them, but put them there.
Yeah, like money and cell phones, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen Kleenexes, the kids' lollipop. I don't know. I've seen women pull some crazy shit out of their bras and before. So
Yeah, like, really?
yeah, so maybe she did initially. Maybe initially he did convince her that just doing the clasp and shake was, a lewd exhibition, but she certainly knew before she went to trial that what they were telling her to say, asking her to testify to. Yeah, and she did it anyway. So,
But by the way, before I forget, you were speaking about bras and so forth. I did see a thing the other day from some store that due to the excessive heat, especially in the South, they are not accepting bra money at this time.
It's gross. So gross. I've never done that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. You said that, and I immediately thought of that joke.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a meme about that before too.
Well, it wasn't a meme that I saw. It was an actually sign, like one of those.
Sign?
Yeah, it's got the thing just standing there in the parking lot, where they can put letters on it. Due to the excessive heat, we are not we are not accepting bra money at this time.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? And who can blame them? Because sweaty, nasty, dirty bra money. That's gross.
Whatever funk is on there, magnified. You got magnified with your sweat. No, thank you.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's rough. Under your scars, sweaty DNA from past Johns. Gross. Yeah, for real. And JD, I've been paid with itty bitty titty money. That's funny. You guys are funny. Oh man, sweaty titty money.
Sorry, my bad.
Now look what you've done. Now look what you started,
I know.
Jack.
Me and my big damn mouth. I can't help it.
Oh man. So that's basically all we're going to talk about tonight with Carla Raines. Because first of all, it's a fairly brief police report comparatively, and that's like I said, if you want to watch the entire video, you can you can listen to it on Bates Investigates podcast. I'm trying to think of what episode that was. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But,
15, I think, wasn't it? Wasn't it 15?
Well, that's my. Yeah. Well, Bates Investigate, his podcast. I don't remember what episode it was on his website.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But you can listen to the entire thing there. I think there's 2 parts to it, actually.
It's episode 15. Yeah.
It is episode 15. Yeah, that's where you're getting that from, Jack. You were right. I was wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, you can either go listen to it there, or you can watch my video the podcast we did last year, catch up on some stuff. But after we do our special presentation next week of the our Oklahoma City tour, then Kay will have a chance to work on the timeline a little bit, and we can go into some details about what was going on in Oklahoma City and around the country, because by now, I believe at this point, Ferguson has happened. And if I'm not mistaken, the riots have begun in Ferguson at this point in the investigation. So there's definitely, you know, things that I know Kay will want to put into the timeline, and whatever emails that we were able to obtain through FOIA, we'll be able to just gonna go wash her hands. Yeah, that's gross. You know, there are going to be things that we'll be able to add to the timeline that will keep you, you know, bring you up to date with what was going on in the department and with the investigations and all that stuff. And then again, just remember that it was 6 or 7 days later that they finally did arrest Daniel on some of the accusers. There weren't, I think initially there were only 8 accusers that that they arrested him on. So, and then they just added more as, you know, as the investigation went on. But that's what they arrested him on, and then they just added more to it. They just piled on after that. So anyway, so that's really all I have for everybody tonight. I know you guys are probably like gonna go through withdrawals because this is just a little over an hour at this point. And so I want to try, honestly, I really want to try to keep the shows under at the maximum 2 hours. I don't really want to, you know, I've been kind of looking at analytics and things like that, and I lose a lot of viewers, you know, after about that first hour or so, and hour and a half. And you know, maybe people are watching on replay. I mean, they are, because I'm seeing that the views, you know, there's more views. But at the same time, I know when bye, Kay, thank you so much for making your comments. We're going to be kicking off here pretty quick too. But thank you. Enjoy your vacation. But I just don't want to, I know when I'm looking at videos that I want to watch, if it's anything over an hour and a half or 2 hours, it's a turn off to me. Oh God, you know, I'd like to hear what's being said, but I just don't really want to sit and listen to, you know, this for the next 3 or 4 hours. I don't think it's productive. If I'm having if there are a lot of engagement in the chat that like continues to go, I'll keep going. As long as people are chatting about it, asking questions, making comments, and it's all relevant to what we're talking about, I'll go for 2-3 hours, whatever I got to do. But I really, you know, I'd like to make it not so, not such a long time of, foul play is different. I mean, I'm doing good to sit through, you know, go through the 3 or 4 hour podcasts and foul play, but not that Daniel's case is less interesting. I think it's at least as interesting as Stephen and Brendan. There's just not as much awareness in Daniel's case yet. But, you know, when we're in foul play and we're doing a reading with the crew or open mic, people are engaged, and as you guys know, you know, there's always somebody in the chat saying, no, don't go, you know, 3-4 hours, don't go, and I would love to get to a point in Daniel's case. I would love to have as much awareness in Daniel's case that's you know, that people in the chat are saying, no, tell us more. So, you know, but that's not where we're at right now, and that's okay. I'm being patient. We have picked up probably just in the last few months, at least 28 20 to 28 subscribers. I think that's what it says in the last. Thanks, Alice. I appreciate that. And I look forward to getting Alice back on the panel as well. We've missed you, Alice, so we look forward to having you back. I know that if Daniel hears snippets somehow of you on the panel now and then, he loves to hear you speaking and stuff. So be glad to have you back on as well. But so yeah, I mean, maybe that's a challenge for everybody in the chats that are, who's watching the video. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and share this case with other people, and get them on board with. It's hard because I think that we part of the struggle that we have with Daniel's case is he's a former cop, and he's only a former cop because the detectives and the state of Oklahoma made it that way. But when people see, I've said this before, when people see that a former cop was accused of rape and sexual assaults, they just want to talk about, good, the pig got what he wanted, or what he deserved, and he's all cops are bad and he should be in prison and he shouldn't, I fight that I fight that battle every time I go into a chat on a comment section somewhere else. And I'll just keep doing it. Somebody I can't remember, it does sound bad, under stars, and that's why it shows the lack of close, or the, how do I say it? It shows the closed-mindedness of the general public. They don't want to hear about some cop, sorry, I was reading a comment. They don't want to hear, they want to hear about a cop who they want to hear about a cop going to prison, even if he's, no matter what. There is that big of a crowd out there. I'm sure, Jack and Cherie and people in chat would agree. People love to see cops, get into trouble. And you know what? There are plenty of them out there who deserve it, who deserve to get in trouble. But Daniel's not one of them. He wasn't one of them. So that's a big hurdle that we have to get over when we're talking about Daniel's case, is that people are just like, oh, a cop sexually assaulted 13 women. Yeah, he should be in prison for 263 years. It's really hard to get over that hill. So again, that's why I appreciate Jack streaming it in Foul Play. Hopefully that brings more awareness. And, if everybody shares the channel and shares the topic and talks about Daniel's case, like we do with Stephen and Brendan, hopefully soon, someday, we can get Daniel's case just as popular or well known. What you got, Jack?
That's why I said, well, I was just going to say that's what this case needs, is it needs a documentary, a well-produced documentary.
Right.
That will explore, however many parts. I think minimum of 10, but it could easily do 15. There's so much material, but if it were to be made into a well-produced, Netflix type documentary. I mean, there are a lot of good documentarians out there these days, but something along those lines, this case would explode. I'm telling you, it would explode. People would be outraged.
I agree.
And I don't know nearly a thimbleful compared to what you ladies know, but I know enough.
Well, yeah, and you know enough to know that it's disgusting what's been done to him. Effectively, Daniel was sentenced to more prison time than Stephen and Brendan together.
Combined.
Think about it,
Combined, absolutely.
Combined, yeah, and not trying to take away from what they're going through at all.
Well, of course not, but that's the truth.
Yeah, it's it's been, it's rough to actually say it. Look at the number. And I shared something in some DM groups last week that if I could find it right offhand, and that I had put in the Discord groups, that my 7-year-old granddaughter and I had a little conversation, and it really, this was I feel like I have to look for it. I'm really sorry. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Jack and Cherie? The little story I shared with you guys about my granddaughter.
I do.
I just don't know
think
where
so.
I put it.
Yep.
Oh, was it Staff and Mod? Oh, it was Staff and Mod. Let me go over there really quick, because I don't want to go through it again. It's been a minute since it happened. It was last week sometime, but I just thought it was really profound from a 7-year-old, what she said to me, this conversation that we had. And if I can find it without too much time, here it is. I'll read it to you. So this was, I just said, a sweet little story to share with all of you. I'm so proud of my little 7-year-old granddaughter, Anaya. I call her Nini. She saw a trifold flyer that Mr. HOLTZCLAW gave to us while we were in Oklahoma City last week. It has the side-by-side picture of Daniel HOLTZCLAW on it, the one with the prison side of his face and his officer side of his face. She started reading it. She reads very well, and started to ask me questions about why he was in prison. I told her that he was accused of doing very bad things to some women that he actually didn't do. She said, quote, "Well, then he shouldn't be in prison then," end quote. I told her that's absolutely correct. We had a little conversation about it, and she was curious why I would be trying to, quote, "get him out of prison," end quote, because in her young mind, she thinks I'm trying to break him out of prison. She had a little look on her face like, well, wait, if he's in jail, why are you trying to get him out? And so, it's hard to explain all the details, but I explained to her that I was using laws and evidence of his innocence to free him. She was looking at the picture of Daniel with the split face of the prisoner versus officer. She asked me if this was the good side and the other side was the bad side. I explained that he isn't the bad guy and that the other side is who he really is. She then looked at the amount of years and asked me if that's how many years he's in prison. I told her yes, and she said, quote, "But he can't even live that long, so how can he be in prison that long?" End quote. I told her that a bunch of women accused him of doing bad, inappropriate things to them, and that the other police helped the women lie about it. My 7-year-old granddaughter is appalled by this. Her mom called her to go on some errands with her, and she said, quote, "I have to go with my mom right now, but when I get back, will you tell me more about it? Because that's just wrong," end quote. And then I said to the group that I shared it with, I said, future wrongful conviction advocate, ladies and gentlemen. She was just really, she's 7, you guys. She's just 7. And she had the smallest amount of information, and she's only 7, so I can't really give her very much detail. That's not my place.
From the mouths of babes.
Yeah, that's what Jack said to me too in the place where I shared it, from the mouths of babes. And if she can, and Alice saying the same thing. Yeah. And when she got home, they were gone for several hours that afternoon. And when she got home, she came back into my room and said, "Nana, remember when I had to go with my mom and we were talking?" And so, we talked about it just a little bit more after she got home, but it was so impactful to her that for even the few hours that they were gone, she still wanted to talk about. She still remembered that when she got home, she wanted to talk about it with me some more. So Jesus, if a 7-year-old can understand that what's being done to him is wrong, why can't adults with more developed minds than my 7-year-old granddaughter?
Because your granddaughter doesn't have an agenda, and they do.
Right. Well, and she also hasn't been exposed to corruption yet either. Also,
Right.
And
Not jaded.
Right. She's not jaded, and she's not. She hasn't had to experience that. But you know what? The thing of it is, that's what she's growing up in. And
Oh yeah.
When I was talking to my daughter about it, my daughters, they don't. I mean, they're very open and honest with their kids, but she, Ashley, my daughter, knowing what the circumstances of Daniel's case is, and I was telling her about the conversation with Nene and I, and she just looked at me like, "Oh my God, how much did you tell her?" kind of look. And I said,
No. No.
Yeah, I said, no, I was very appropriate. I had to explain it, it wasn't something as bad as a speeding ticket, or, as weak as a speeding ticket. I had to explain to her it's something very serious, and that he was
Right.
being accused of doing inappropriate things. And my daughter's eyes got big, and I said, that's all I said. Whatever they want to explain to her, in whatever is on them. But gosh, I just thought, this is what she's growing up. This is what all my grandkids, that's what all of our kids and grandkids are growing up in. And it's scary. But you know what? If all three of the grandkids that, I live with here, they're all, my 14-year-old granddaughter, she's going to high school in the fall. And last year, she really took an interest in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and certain things about law and stuff. And I just thought, wow. And she understands things, and she knows about the things. She's studied them, and she's very interested in it.
Tell her to study tell her to read the 13th Amendment. See how she thinks about that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So I'm very proud. And my daughter kind of rolls her eyes at me, not being mean, but she kind of rolls her eyes at me because my grandson, also her middle child, has made comments to me and others about what my Nana taught me this, or my Nana taught me that, or whatever, talking about wrongful convictions or laws, or police or whatever. But I'm proud of that. And I want them, if I can't teach my grandkids anything else in their lives, their young lives, this is something I am proud to teach them, and hope that I can make an impact on them one way, shape, or form. Just to make them aware. Next generation of lawyers. I hope so. That would be awesome, Alice. That would be really cool if that's how.
Not saying that I could ever have made a good lawyer, but that's what I should have been.
Yeah.
I should have been a lawyer. Yeah.
I think I could have been a good litigator for sure.
I'm pretty mouthy, so get me on my horse and.
Yeah. And you're good at it too, Jack. I mean, all of us that work in foul play, we've learned a lot, researching Stephen and Brendan's cases. And I've learned even more working on Daniel's case.
Well, being passionate about, it's, to me, it's about applying the laws that we have in a reasonable way, not unreasonable. And your ultimate goal is the truth. That has to be the goal. If it's anything other than the truth, then you've just taken the document and your oath that you swore, and you just might as well just throw it out the window and set it on fire, because you're after something completely different, and you've changed the nature of our system.
Yeah. And our system, our criminal justice system is in bad. I mean, it's completely broken as far as I'm concerned.
Been broken.
And,
been broken for decades.
It has.
Just look
it's gotten worse.
Look at plea deals.
Yes. Yes.
The bane of my existence.
Well, and also, and I know that we've talked about this in Foul Play, and I'm pretty sure we've probably talked about it on this show as well. But I posted a link in Discord, I think in Daniel's Truth Discord for sure, and I think maybe in my room in Foul Play. But there's actually a Americans Against Qualified Immunity. I can't get my hands on the link right away, but there's actually a organization that is Americans Against Qualified Immunity, and some interesting stories in that. If I can, Cherie or Jack, if one of you can find that either in Daniel's Truth, in general discussion, I think, or in my room in Foul Play, and post that link, because I didn't know an organization like that existed, and it's something that I definitely would like to be spend more time, looking into, because that's, like you said, Jack, and I know Cherie has said the same thing about plea deals, and I agree. But also qualified immunity. I mean, it's I watch a lot of auditing videos. I'm very particular about
The
which.
auditor.
I started out with Audit the Auditor, actually, but I've moved on to two others now. One is my favorite one, because he's the best auditor out there, is Long Island Audit.
You got me addicted now. I've been listening to him for the last few days.
Yeah,
Which
isn't
one?
he
Long
a
Island.
Long Island Audit?
Oh, I'll have to get a link for that, because I don't think I've listened to him.
He is so good. He is absolutely non-confrontational, and he's very, very respectful. He doesn't instigate, because there are plenty who, who instigate, and they try to, instigate or entice arguments and fights and whatever.
That's right. Intentionally, and I don't like that. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think even Cherie will tell you that this guy doesn't do that. He's very respectful and very, very smart. He's very, very smart at what he does. And then this is another one that I got this one from. I got this one from Long Island Audit. I heard about this guy, and this guy's name is Lackluster, I think it is. And he doesn't really do audits, but what he's doing is showing videos of, bad, horrible, awful police interactions with public. And a lot of it has to do with auditors. He shows just horrible interactions with different. Jack or Cherie, can you put those two links in Foul Play's chat that I put in my chat, maybe, in case people are interested?
Absolutely. I did find one. Actually, one of my state senators introduced a bill. I don't know where it went because I didn't follow it, about qualified immunity. And I don't know if people understand where it came from. And it's not really a law.
Qualified immunity?
Right. Do you remember where that came from? Where it originated?
Don't know. I don't.
The Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. That makes sense.
They're the ones that coined that term, but there's no such law in the books, as far as I know. But they use it to great effect.
Yeah, it's been adopted.
Absolutely, it's been adopted.
What, if you look at Lackluster's, the second link that I shared, well, even Long Island Audit, actually, but if you look at Lackluster, he shows, and his videos are fairly short. I mean, I think the longest video of his that I've watched is maybe 25 minutes. Same with Long Island Audit. His aren't very long, 30 minutes. Some of his are horrible, and that he's personally been through. But yeah, they talk about, they show how difficult it is for an officer or anybody who's eligible for qualified immunity, how difficult it is to get that stripped from them, even when they have clearly violated someone's civil rights. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting watching. And it's, kind of like with me when I first learned about that how common wrongful convictions were. I'm learning that, bad behavior in different forms of law enforcement or, governments or whatever, how much more common it is than I thought it was. So anyway, I kind of got off track here, but
well, I'm going to add one more since we're off track, if you don't mind. There used to be another one long ago. I don't know if you ever watched him, and I can't remember the full title of his YouTube channel, but it was something about photographer. I can't remember whatever it was, but these guys I didn't like. I mean, some of what they did was okay. They didn't push the envelope at all. Mm-hmm. But in most of them, they did. They tried to cause a situation. They added to and forced, the cop or the cops that they may encounter in a way that they shouldn't have done to get their point across. Like one situation, this guy, he went to this police station. He was walking around when he had his camera, pretty nice camera. And I guess after he was there for, 10 or 15 minutes, I think a sergeant walked out and asked him if he could help him with something. And he said, "No, I'm just taking photos." And he said, "Well, why are you doing that?" He said, "Well, I don't have to tell you, I said, "Well, you kind of need to explain yourself, whatever. It's a public building, but, I really need to kind of know what you're doing. If it's just, whatever for something journalism, whatever, that's fine. But if it's for something else, then, we need to have a conversation." And it went from there. Yeah. He just kept ramping it up, and he was very evasive. He was really kind of a dick, and the cop wasn't. He was very reasonable and measured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't like it. I don't like that kind of thing.
I don't either. Well, and I'll tell you, on Long Island audits, on the audits that he does, when he's in public and he's filming, no matter where it is, and somebody says, "What are you doing?" He's pleasant, and he just, he'll say, "Well, he usually starts off with, I'm an independent journalist, and I'm just here gathering content for a story." And, and if a cop approaches him and says, a lot of times it does, "Well, what are you doing out here?" And he says his opening, and then, "Can I get your name and badge number?" And you just have to watch a couple of his videos. He's very, very professional and very respectful and cordial with everybody that talks to him. And when a cop says, violating a First Amendment or Fourth Amendment right at that point, "Well, I need to see your ID." And he'll just say, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you my ID." "Well, you have to give me your ID. I'm a law enforcement officer, and I'm telling you, you have to give me your ID." And this all goes into, Terry v. Ohio stuff and whatever. But by and large, he'll just say, "I haven't committed a crime. I don't have to show you my ID if I haven't committed a crime."
That's
well,
right.
You're suspicious. People are feeling funny because you're out here filming, and it just looks weird, and it makes people uncomfortable, blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's not illegal.
It is not illegal. And he'll say something to the effect, "Well, is uncomfortable or suspicious, is that a misdemeanor or a felony?" because unless it's
That's right.
one of those two, I don't have to ID. So
That's right.
and he's absolutely right. And it has really made me far more aware of the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, and the 14th Amendments. And I'm a lot
Absolutely.
more aware now. And I haven't just taken these guys' words for it. I mean, I live in Utah, so I look at my state laws, around those things. But basically, it comes down to this: if it's a constitutionally held right, none of that other stuff matters. Your
That's right. It can't
policy on
trump.
your walls don't. Yeah,
Nope. Nope.
yeah,
Can't trump constitutional law. Cannot.
yeah. And that's what Long Island Audit is always telling, people that try to push back on him. You can't your policy of no filming or no entrance or whatever, not no entrance because he's very respectful of restricted areas, but you can't, your policy on your wall, that's a policy or a rule that you have to follow, and you can try to enforce, but you can't make that trump the constitutional rights, our amendments, our rights that are afforded to us in the amendments. And I agree with that, but I do believe that there is a way for it to be done in a respectful manner, and that's why I like to watch Long Island Audit, because he does
Not
do
right
it in
now.
a
I'll
respectful
your
manner. I'm sorry?
Sorry, thought I was muted.
Oh.
My bad.
Oh, no, you're fine. Anyway, I got way off topic of what we were talking about here tonight, but let's see, I'm missing some comments here. And not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. You're just human to breaking point by being an obnoxious, I can't say the word right now. Just for views and likes really makes me angry. I will tell you that, and I respect that opinion and that viewpoint 100%. But Long Island Audit doesn't do that. If he comes in contact with a crappy law enforcement officer who is intent on violating his rights, then he'll push back, but he still does it, in a respectful manner. Yeah, and you know what? I agree, and I respect that opinion too, Liam. Absolutely. Just having a right to do something doesn't mean you are right to do it. Yeah, I agree. But I just feel like, I don't know. There are some who are incredibly obnoxious and annoying and disrespectful and intentionally try to. For Long Island Audit, his name's Sean Paul Reyes. For him, it's not about trying to instigate an argument or a confrontation with law enforcement or anybody else for that matter.
Education.
It's about education and bringing more awareness. And like I said, I am more aware now of what the First Amendment actually affords and what the Fourth Amendment actually affords. And I get it. I've done some research on those amendments now. And yeah, we're kind of losing those rights, and that's scary. Our country was founded on the Constitution, and it's a little scary to me. So
And those amendments were added later for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Specifically to protect, the free speech and right to vote, search and seizure.
Yeah.
Right to due process. That's a huge one there, because that covers
due process. Yeah.
a multitude of a Sixth Amendment.
Yeah.
So.
The Fifth Amendment, it really, I think that for myself, I'm just going to speak for myself. I've just become like, yeah, I know the First Amendment basically says this, and this, and the Fourth Amendment says this, and but when you look at it, because it's written in the language of the time that it was, drafted. If you relate those words to the way we speak today, it makes a lot more sense in my own new era, words. So,
right.
yes, absolutely. I looked up my laws, and Utah is one of the stop and identify states, or Terry state, I guess you could call it. And there are most states are stop and ID states in the country, but there are several that are not, or that whose laws are. But regardless of what it is, the law still, when you read the statutes and the subtitles and all those things, they still come down to, if you're asked for an ID, there has to be a reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime, or
That's
are
right.
committing a crime, or about to commit a crime. And when you break it down and you look at that, that's fair. That's fair to me,
Otherwise, you might as well go back to Nazi Germany, 1944. Show me your papers, and that's not what
Yes.
we're about. No
Yeah.
way. It's free to travel unless I've done something wrong, broke. You caught me speeding. Okay, fine. Write me my ticket. I'll pay it. Otherwise, that's pretty much the extent of my criminal history.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, I just wanted to promote that, my opinion on it, since somehow I brought it up. I don't know how I did it, but I did. But yeah, I think we started with talking about qualified immunity, and just kind of taking that back to Daniel's case. I am certain that if we at some point we are finally, um, get some relief for Daniel, and he is, released from prison. And of course, there's going to be a lawsuit. Absolutely. Those guys are all going to be protected by qualified immunity, and it just really pisses me off. I mean, to some degree, at least that's what's going to be, that's going to be the defense anyway, is qualified immunity. But, and that could be a whole different topic, in the way that they abuse their authority to get the women to lie against Daniel. I mean, I don't know. It would be a harder, a 1983 color of law violation, civil rights violation might be more difficult in Daniel's case, but I don't know.
I haven't
Anyway.
read, recent case law on qualified immunity recently, but it's my understanding that if it's intentional, it's not supposed to be covered by that, covered by the
Right.
qualified immunity, like, intentionally forcing those women to accuse him.
Yeah.
But, a lot of times they manage to wiggle around that, and really makes me angry.
Yeah. Liam says, I don't think of keeping your own video record of a stop as auditing. It is using modern technology to have evidence for just in case, but not as an expectation of my rights being violated. Yeah, you have. I mean, and Lackluster is that one that I showed. That's what a lot of that is. Always record law enforcement when they come in contact with you. Don't talk to them, and lawfully, do whatever you're required to do lawfully, of course, but you have to protect yourself, because he shows plenty of videos that are sent to him where body worn cameras are edited, pieces of it are cut out. Cherie, I don't know if you've watched it yet, but one of the cases, Long Island Audit, was in a trial, and
Yeah.
during the trial, he saw a different body worn camera video than what his attorneys were given. And he, for the first time during the trial, was when they saw that body-worn camera footage had been edited by
Uh-oh.
the department. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So, or when you FOIA, like the man from Lackluster's website, he FOIAs documents and video, body worn camera video and stuff all the time, and he said that he'll get body worn camera video that is heavily redacted and edited or blurred out completely so that you can't really see what's happening, and so you can't depend. When the cops say, that's what, just so you know, I'm recording you. The cop says, yeah, it's okay. I'm recording you too. Okay, well, I'm recording myself doing my own recording because I can't trust yours. Yours might get lost
And that's a sad state of affairs right there. Right out of the gate.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So anyway, Long Island Audit and Lackluster, I doubt you guys will ever watch any of my videos. If you do, you probably will never see this one, but I think you guys do good at what you're doing. So I support you. I don't even watch other auditors anymore now that I've found Audit the Audit's good because there's education given. Like Audit the Audit shows, they bring up case law and statutes and different things and so they're great too. I'm not saying they're not, but other than those I don't watch any other auditors anymore. I find them very confrontational and they make me very uncomfortable. So
yeah, there was a Audit the Auditor did one here in my town a couple of years ago. It's bad.
Really?
I mean, yeah, this black guy was I don't remember what he was collecting signatures for. I don't remember what it was, but it was something legal, whatever. Anyway, he was going around this neighborhood, and anyway, one of the residents looked out their window and saw this black guy walking through their neighborhood and got worried, so they called the cops. And this guy had his kids with him. And anyway, the cops show up and want to know what he's doing. He said, well, I'm collecting signatures for whatever the hell it was. Why do you see your ID? And he said, well, what did I do? Did I break the law or something? Well, we just need to see your ID. And it went from there. Well, they ultimately ended up taking this guy to jail over nothing. Nothing. He had not broken any statutes at all. He had filed the proper paperwork with the city of what he was doing, got permission, and blah blah blah. And they took him to jail. And some neighbors said, he had his kids. She said, I'll watch your kids. Don't worry. Go take care of what you got to take care of. And they took him to jail and held him for, I don't know, it wasn't long. And I guess upper echelon got involved and you got to let this guy go. What are you doing? The one cop got in real trouble. The other cop that was with him was a rookie. So he was just like following whatever the 28-year veteran cop was doing. Yeah. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
That's horrible when you're especially if you're an FTO and you've got a rookie and you're teaching them your bad habits. That's really that's a bad future. That's a bad future.
Like Kim Iraqi training somebody, you mean?
Oh, good God. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. That's just terrifying. It's I agree, Alice. When you've got superiors training the new guys, or even if they're not new guys, but they're going out and watching their superiors treat citizens the way that some of them are, it's scary. It's really scary. And that's one more plug for Long Island Audit. He's going across the country, and different police departments are asking him to train their departments about teaching them about you know, how to respond to public, and you know, you don't go into anyway. He's been doing some trainings in different police departments at the request of the captains or the chiefs of the departments, because they want to do better and they want to be better, or they want to make sure that their department isn't, you know, behaving the way some of them do. And I think that's a pretty big, to me, that's a pretty big testament that he's doing something right.
I know a couple of lead detectives that were talking to Brendan Dassey that could sure as hell use some training back. I don't know, whatever the hell long ago, 18 years ago.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and you look at, you know, when you think about, oh God, you look at Brendan and Stephen and what the way that they were both violated. It's, I mean, there are so many ways that we can't even count them. The way that Brendan and Stephen were violated.
Oh yeah,
You know,
especially. I mean, I really kind of say especially Brendan because of what they did and how they did it, and even to this day, it still stands as they were just doing the right thing. It's such crap. It's
yeah,
terrible, absolutely
we were just
terrible.
doing our job. No, that's not
No,
your job.
no, no.
Not your job. What they did. Absolutely. Anyway, um, so we've almost got to 2 hours, and I think that's way plenty long enough. And so we, unless, you know, Cherie or Jack, if you'd have anything else you'd like to add or talk about or anything else.
I'm good.
Well, it's a good discussion. Learned a little about Carla Raines and talked about auditing and qualified immunity. So
Yeah.
interesting.
And I think Cherie put the link to the Americans Against Qualified Immunity. I think that's what it's called, that website, into the chat. So if you want to check those out, and see, you know, just read some of the stories that are in there. It's pretty crazy. Did you have? Oh, sorry. Did you want to say something, Cherie?
No.
Okay. I did want to mention that I know that a time, and this is probably Jack's plug to make, but I'm gonna just throw it in there. I know that Travis Williamson, Esquire, has been invited on open mic to talk about the process of post conviction. So in Foul Play, there's a room for questions for Travis about post conviction relief. And I've read over all the different questions in there, and they're all valid, legitimate questions. But I think the topic that he was interested in speaking about or prepared to present is about post conviction. I don't know that he was planning to talk about other things or specifically about Brendan and Stephen, or, you know, anything else. But I just wanted to remind, I don't know if another date has been rescheduled for Travis for that or not, but I'll let
Not
Jack
yet.
talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, I did send him a message to see, and he hasn't responded yet. But I don't know if it'll be, you know, this Sunday or if it's going to be at a later time. But yeah, I mean, it's really, the topic is really about post conviction. I'm not saying he will not. I haven't really discussed it with him. I'm not saying he won't answer other more specific questions, but he might, you know, depending on time and so forth. I can't believe he would mind too much talking about something that wasn't quite on topic, because we're really, for both of them, it's really the post conviction era anyway. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
As soon as I know, get a firm date, then what I'll do is I'll certainly post it in Discord, but I'll add something to the community page as well.
Okay. I'm getting very close to a community page, by the way. Cherie, let me see. I got to look and see what she told me. I am 64 subs away from being able to get a community page. So
Woo-hoo. There you go.
yeah. So I would love to be able to get to the point where I can do the community page. Also, I don't know if those of you who are in my Discord, Daniel's Truth, there I have uploaded the Tabitha Barnes trial stuff in her room in Daniel's Truth Discord. If you're interested in reading those documents, I tried to upload them in order, but I might not have. So if you're getting confused about when a specific thing took place, you might have to just look at the page numbers on the top of the transcript itself to make sure that it's falling in order. But if you want to read those are there. And I think I got all of my little highlights and call boxes and stuff out of it. So it's not all my commentary included with it. But if you have any questions about any of it, please feel free to tag us in Discord and let us know, because we will answer any questions that we can to help people understand more. So, all right. Well, with that said, I think that we should be doing Reading with the Crew on Foul Play on Saturday at the normal time. I think 5 p.m. Central, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right.
And then open mic, I'm assuming, on Sunday at 5 p.m. Central.
Yeah, but I'm not sure yet what we'll be doing. It'll either be Travis or possibly could be deposition, going back to depositions.
Transcripts?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we haven't done that for a while.
No.
Clairview, while I'm thinking about it, we were watching the Lori Vallow sentencing in Claire Bear's channel. Alice and Darkside and I were in there. I'm not sure who else from Foul Play was there, but at the end, she was talking about reading the sentencing because Lori Vallow's statements were reprehensible, evil, and blasphemous, and accusatory, and disgusting. The statement that she read was horrible. It was just a slap in the face to all of the victims in that case. But
who are you talking about?
Sorry, Lori Daybell. Yeah.
Oh, she read. I didn't see it, so she had a statement. Or
oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's horrible.
Yep.
I can't imagine what she would have to say.
It is worse than I thought it would be. I was disgusted. I don't know if Alice is still here, but she could tell you too how horrible. I mean, the chat in Claire Bear's stream we were losing our fucking minds because it was so disgusting. Oh, Liam was there too. Yes. We were losing our minds, and I was so angry. I went into the Lori Daybell room in Foul Play and made a comment like, I said, I'm losing my fucking mind right now because I was so angry. It was just horrible, the things that she said. And she read her statement to the court after all the victim impact statements were completed. And can I also just say how disgusting I thought it was that I think it's John Thomas was one of her attorneys. And he objected several times during victim impact statements. Your Honor, I'm going to object because they're not supposed to be talking about this in there. I was like, what the actual fuck are they doing? I've never heard, not saying it doesn't happen or it hasn't happened, but I've listened to a lot of victim impact statements in different trials. I've never heard the defense attorney object to what a victim was saying in their victim impact statement before, ever. And her attorney did several times. And I just thought that was unacceptable and disgusting. Yeah. and he was preaching. Her attorney was preaching, by the way. Um, it was awful. It was horrible. Listening to her attorney and her speak was just awful. And yes, we were all pretty angry at that. So anyway, if you haven't listened to that, even if you just listen to the ending part where before the judge sentenced her, listen to her statement. If that's all you have time for, it wasn't very long, maybe 10 minutes or so. But she's a victim. Let me just tell you, she believes she's a victim, and it was sick. So anyway, that was, I think, Monday that occurred. But anyway, Claire there, so she put a link in her chat, which was very brave of her, considering my experience with having done that, and said, if anybody after the judge, sentenced her, and well, that was all, and everything, the stream was all over. She invited, anybody who wanted to come onto her panel and talk about it to come up. And I was like sitting there trying to sit on my hands, like, Rhonda, don't do it. You just mind your business, be quiet. You don't need to be up there, putting your business all up in there.
And you're sitting there vibrating. You're so damn mad.
I was so angry, and I needed to verbalize it. I told her that when we were finishing up, I said, I just needed to verbalize my anger because it was so furious. And so nobody else was jumping in to talk. And so I thought, okay, a couple minutes went by, nobody jumped in. And I said, okay, I'm a loudmouth and I'm passionate, and people who know me know that about me. So here I go. So I did. I jumped on her panel, and it was a really, good conversation. And she's so easy to converse with. Anyway, Claire is. And so, she asked me about my opinion about some things. But anyway, the thing that I'm trying to say 5-10 minutes later is that she wanted to get some people to help her read different parts of Lori Vallow's, of the sentencing. And specifically her attorney and her, and I think maybe the court as well. And I did. I did. She did say, Claire. Oh God! See, now you guys got me sidetracked again. Claire's channel isn't like mine or foul plays. There's not as much swearing at all, when you're on her panel or from any of her panel members. And so she just asked, if you come on, I know everybody's really upset and everybody's, really angry about this, but, she's monetized. Try not to, we're not going to, have a bunch of foul language or whatever very polite thing she said. And I can't remember now what the question was, but I said something about whatever, and I said, I can't remember exactly what the phrase was I used, but I said fuck, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because, she was kind of specific about trying not to use foul language. But you know me, I gotta always drop some F-bombs somewhere. Anyway, she was laughing, and, Liam laughing about it because I was like, oh my gosh. And then I think Liam even said, I like it when Rhonda swears or something like that. So it's like, well, thanks. I'm glad somebody does. But anyway, she wants people to read some different parts. So I said, well, I said something about, I said, if you're having a hard time finding somebody, and she said, oh yes. And she was really, really impressed with, us reading transcripts and depositions and stuff. And she said that she might be soliciting some people in foul play because now she's thinking she might want to do the whole sentencing day, the whole thing in the sentencing. And she said that she might be hitting up some folks in foul play. She said that foul play has great readers that do really well and, have good reading voices. And so she might be hitting some up here in foul play to help her do that if she does decide to do that. So I thought that was, hi, R. William. So great to see you. Thank you for joining us over in Foul Play. So she might, and that will be my fault probably if she does. You can blame me for jumping in there and doing some reading. So, and I would be happy to if I have time, and I'm sure any of us would be happy to help her do any of those readings if she needs it. So, anyway, if Jack or Cherie don't have anything else to add, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this show for now. I've managed to get us just over 2 minutes, and I feel like that's pretty much, I think that's a level amount of time. So if there's nothing else,
I'm gonna have some leftover pizza and
Okay.
Mexican Coke if anybody cares. Other than that, I'm straight.
I care. I do care, especially about some Mexican Coke.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I am going to just say thank you, everyone, for being here. And until next time, peace out. Just kidding. That wasn't the one I was looking for.